Stress and depression. Okay, these are two words that get bandied around with such flippancy it drives me nuts. They are two serious medical conditions. They have differing chemical and hormonal responses in the body, but they're still two serious conditions. And people say, oh, I was depressed yesterday. I'm sorry, in my book that just doesn't happen. You don't get depressed for one day. It's prolonged. But let me firstly look at stress. You need stress in your life. If you don't, you'd pretty much not do anything. Stress is kind of like the boot up the bum that says go and do something. And that's good. You need that. The problem comes is when you're under chronic stress. So when you're constantly being demanded upon, you're feeling overwhelmed, you feel like you can't cope, that's when stress becomes a problem. It becomes a bigger problem when it's over a prolonged period of time. That's not good. So if you're constantly under stress, you forget what it's like to be without stress. And that's where you also have a problem. So not only is the body struggling to deal with the excess stress that you're under for a prolonged period of time, if that stress is, for example, caused by, say, a job, and you then change jobs, that stress goes. You're left with a vacuum in your life. You've got to be prepared for that vacuum. I know that, I was under stress for pretty much 2 years continuously. And then when that stress dissipated, I was like a fish out of water. I was just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Because I'd been so used to being under that stress, and I hadn't prepared myself at all for being without that stress. So stress in itself, being under it, is not good for your health. There's no question of that. But be prepared that when the stress goes, you're also going to be left with a hole that needs filling and is going to take a little while to actually get used to and get accustomed to and get you to relax again. So it's not going to be a dead easy process, all right? But it is achievable. But just be prepared that it's not just being in stress that's important, it's the coming out of stress that's important too. Depression works, it's similarly, I suppose, in the context that I'm talking. You get depressed, you stay depressed, but that environment becomes comfortable. I've been depressed on and off most of my life, and I'm 36. And you can get stuck in depression in terms of you hate feeling miserable, you hate feeling down, you hate the fact that you're angry, you can be angry all the time and you're irritable and you've got no patience. But actually it becomes comfortable because you forget what it's like to not be depressed. So you get stuck in this comfort zone, and then the thought of coming out of it is terrifying because it's like you're in a safe environment. I've got several friends who are still on medication and remain quite low and quite subdued, but for them it's right because they're not in the right mindset to be able to come out of it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's also the same as stress, and the point I suppose I'm trying to make, and waffling on a little bit, is about when you come out of depression, it's like an unknown. Depending on the length of time that you've been depressed, you're not sure what's the other side. And that can be really, really scary. So you need to make sure that you've got a good support network around you of people who understand what you're going through, what you're trying to do and trying to achieve, and get them to help and support you through it. I can categorically say through past experience that it is absolutely worth the risk and it is absolutely worth taking that step out. But it has to be right for you, and it has to be the right time for you. You need to be feeling emotionally strong enough to take that step out. You need to have the support network around you. You need to have the medical intervention if you're coming off medication, all those kinds of things. But the end of 2011 and the start of 2012 for me is like starting my life all over again. and I can honestly say it's the best decision I ever made, and I cannot wait to help you on your journey. Take care.